So I'm doing something a little different today. I usually record from the bee yard, but since this video is about the swarm that I caught recently, let's talk about that. So it's June 24th around 10 a.m. It's about 80 degrees. Humidity's pretty low. I didn't really look, but it feels great today. So this is the location on the corner of our property that I first noticed this swarm around June 13th. So a few field bees coming and going into the entrance, and then a few days later on the 16th, a whole bunch of activity. So very confident a swarm moved in. And then I moved the swarm trap over into the bee yard last night around 9 p.m. Came out here and, just like a regular colony, there's a whole bunch of bees congregating around the entrance. So unstrapped it, went to pick it up, and this thing has some serious weight to it. So about 12 hours later, or just over 12 hours later, as you can see, there's quite a few bees that have come back to the location where they knew their home was. So I'm gonna get set up in the bee yard and we'll take a look at the swarm trap. I'm gonna move the 4 frames into a 5-frame nuke, but given the weight of it that I felt last night, I'm probably going to checkerboard the 4 frames between a double stacked 5-frame nuke and give them 6 frames to expand to. Alright, over here in the bee yard, I'm all set up. I got a 5-frame nuke. I'm going to do 3 frames down below and 3 frames up top, plus the 4 frames in the swarm trap, so that'll be 10 frames total, but give them some vertical space to build up. So as you can see, there's some nice activity on the front entrance here, and the bees are bringing in some nice bright yellow pollen. I'll tell you what, I can't remember who it is because I'd like to give them credit, but I'm sure there's more than one person on the internet. But the plans, the design plans for these 40-liter swarm traps, very easy to make. Out of 1 sheet of plywood, you can make 3 traps. Comes out to about $7 to $10 a trap. And for those of you that know, a package of bees can range anywhere from $150 to $200. So for $7 to possibly capture some of your own bees that have swarmed or somebody else's bees, hey, you can't beat that, right? But yeah, let's take another quick look at the entrance. I have no doubt that there is a mated queen in here, which is fantastic. So they've only been in here for 10 days, and like I said earlier, I moved them over here last night around 9 p.m. So the last swarm I caught, moved them over, left them in this location for a few days so they can get all situated. I'm not going to do that this time because that last swarm, granted not every swarm's the same, but that last swarm, they built a ton of wax hanging off the bottom of the frames because they had the space. And this is what I'm talking about. So I have a whole bucket I haven't done anything with yet. But beautiful looking wax. I do have some frames that do not have foundations. So I might take some rubber bands and form this into those frames if I ever need a few extra frames to get a colony going. But yeah, that's the reason I'm moving them into a nuke box today instead of waiting a few days, just because I don't want them to waste all those resources in building wax, which they may have already, because like I said earlier, this thing's got some weight to it. Alright, so like usual, enough of me yapping. Let me get the camera situated. Situated meaning leveled. And let's open this thing up. See what we got going on. I'll give them some smoke. Alright, here we go. First look inside. This is swarm number 2, I believe. Yeah, this is the second swarm I caught. I did a swarm removal, but that's something totally different. And the nice thing about catching swarms is they get that bee smell inside your box. So catching future swarms should be pretty fun too. All right, here we go. First look. I can already tell these frames have some weight to them. Which probably means there is a decent amount of wax and all built up on the bottom. So this is frame 1, closest to the entrance down below. Let's see what we got going on here. Alright. Surprisingly enough, no wax off the bottom. If y'all can see that shiny stuff, nice nectar and pollen. So that's a nice food frame. A lot of food stores. There are quite a few cornfields within a half mile of where my bee yard's at, and they are in full bloom. So I don't know for a fact whether or not these bees are on the corn, but I like to believe they are. All right, here we go. Frame 2. Actually, we can do this real quick since I didn't do it when I first opened up the swarm trap. But yeah, swarms are generally pretty calm because they're trying to reestablish a home, as some people say. Let me angle this down just a little more, and then we'll take a look inside the nuke later. Alright, that's what I was thinking. So as you can see, within 10 days, they've already started to build a decent amount of comb off the bottom. And unfortunately, there's not much you can do other than just scrape it off. And I'll move that in a day or two. I'll move that into the bucket. Alright, so we have some capped brood. So this is pretty interesting. So let's see, an egg is an egg for 3 days, and then it starts to pupate, and I believe it begins to, I believe it's capped around day 9. I'd have to go back and look. So what I'm getting at is this swarm moved in a lot longer than just 10 days ago, or maybe around 10 days ago. Maybe my timeline's accurate. Alright, yeah, so I'm going to double stack these. They seem pretty healthy. They'll need some space, so they'll have 3 frames on the bottom box to work, and then they'll have 3 frames up top to work. And of course, I'm checkerboarding them. And they do have a decent amount of wax down here, or new comb, whatever you want to call it. Oh man. And there's the weight that I was feeling most likely. Alright, so let's see. And that's probably off camera. Here, let's do this. Let's just turn that a little, angle that up. Yeah, so look at all that. Smoke them a little. And I'm just gonna have to scrape that off because there is just no room for that in the box. That's unfortunate. I don't see any eggs in it though. That's a positive thing. Oh yeah. Man, hey, this is good. This was a good swarm to capture. This queen is doing her thing. So yeah, I'll keep an eye on them. Meaning probably move them into a 10 frame here within a few weeks. I don't necessarily take too much time and look for the queen with the swarm, based off the assumption that she is definitely in there. I mean, this whole frame here, right in the middle there, ton of eggs, some spun larva right around the few capped cells. But yeah, they're doing good. That's what they say with swarms. I mean, they're looking for a new home, so they come prepared, loaded up with nectar and honey and everything else. All right, let's take a look inside the box, see what we have remaining. And a whole bunch of bees. And I'm not sure if the queen's in there, so just like last time, I'm gonna take the box and invert it and bang it on top of the nuke here. Yeah, this hive should be thriving real soon. So here's something else. When I remove that swarm from the lady's house, if the bees start lining up on the top of the frames and they're fanning, usually that's a telltale sign that you have the queen. But I don't like to take too many unnecessary risks. Meaning, well, basically being unsure whether the queen's still in the box or not. So, something very simple to do is take the swarm trap, and bang it on top of the nuke. And then at this point, I can take some of the wax, put it in my bucket, and try and smoke some of the bees off of it, see if that works. And it looks like it does. Add to my wax collection. Put the lid on that and crack it, give them the rest of the day to get going. Put it under there in case it rains. I don't think it is going to. But yeah, simple as that. Maybe 10 minutes or so. Double stack nuke. And I'll put this swarm trap on the ground in front of it and let the bees just find their way up into their new home here in a little bit. And by this evening, they should be all moved out of the swarm trap. And hopefully the bees that are over in the location where the trap was at, hopefully they find their new home. But yeah, so that's swarm number 2. The box that the camera's sitting on is my buddy's swarm. I moved over here probably close to a month ago now. And the previous swarm I used to requeen one of my other hives that was struggling. And same thing with the swarm that I removed from the lady's house in downtown Jacksonville. It was just excellent timing this year. I made some splits. If you look back in my videos, a little early, cold front came through, killed the queen cells. Queens never, hatched, obviously never made it. So I made some splits, which ultimately turned into queenless hives. So not really the best thing going into spring. But then got a call to remove a swarm, caught a swarm. It's just excellent timing, and all is well. All right, hey, thanks for watching, everybody. So that's pretty much the process of transferring a swarm you caught from your swarm trap into however you want to do it. You don't have to use a 5-frame nuke. I've seen some people use a 10-frame box. They'll take, typically a swarm trap has about 5 frames, but after I got done making these, I can only fit 4. Not the best woodworker, but whatever. But yeah, they'll take the frames out of their swarm trap and just use a 10-frame and checkerboard it. But I'm running out of equipment, which is a good problem, so I'll have to buy some here shortly. But I did have a few nukes left over, so as you can see, they are now in a double-stacked 5-frame nuke, so 10 frames. Checkerboard it, 2 from the swarm trap below, 2 from up top, a few empty frames in between, which is the checkerboarding process. So I'll make a follow-up video next weekend and see how much they've built on the new frames. So they should have plenty of food sources or resources stored up, but I will be making some sugar water today and supplementing them, so give them a boost. Hey, thanks for watching, everybody. If you like these videos, please subscribe, hit the bell to receive notifications when new videos are made. And that's it for today. See y'all next time.